Let's get going. Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks Janet. Thanks everyone for joining. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thanks for joining us for the second session on Service Operations Workspace Launch and Learn. Today, we're going to be covering major incident management in Service Operations Workspace. We've got a couple of guest speakers to talk to you around that, and hopefully got some time for some talk around on-call scheduling as well. I am going to go through the agenda here. So we're going to do some brief introductions, some information about the Launch and Learn program, and then we're going to go through into some polls and demos around major incident. As I say, hopefully we're going to get some time for on-call scheduling as well, and then any time for questions and answers at the end of it as well. So moving on. So yeah, as I said earlier, my name is Jim Wright. I'm an outbound product manager here at ServiceNow. Been with ServiceNow around a year, 25 years working in IT service management, of which the last 8 have been working on the ServiceNow platform. I currently am working on adoption of Service Operations Workspace, providing guidance, prescriptive guidance to customers and partners, and working collaboratively in efforts like this as well. When I'm not doing that, I'm usually walking my dogs and also enjoy a bit of sport, especially some F1 and some football. We've also got Harsh with us today. Harsh, do you want to just do a quick introduction?
Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Harsh Mariwal. I'm an inbound product manager in ITSM. I work with Jim. I've been around in ServiceNow for about 6 years, and I'm responsible for working with our engineering and design team to build all of those features out that you as our customers are excited about. All right, back to you, Jim.
Okay, thanks. And also talking to you today will be Digant. Digant, do you want to just step in?
Yep, thanks, Jim. Hey, everyone. My name is Digant Patel. I've been at ServiceNow for about 6 months now. And prior to that, I was a customer for 8 years, where I was an implementer of various different products across software engineering. My main priorities and focus with this go-to-market team. So that's pre and post content creation for our downstream stakeholders, such as marketing and training, along with conducting customer demos, training sessions, and enablement. And then there's just some fun things about me on the right-hand side. I like to play and watch most sports, football, basketball, softball are some of the ones I'm doing currently. The travel and photography. There's a shot from the 4th of July from my apartment here. I'm on the East Coast, across from our New York City office. So it's a bit about me. And like Jim mentioned, if we have time at the end, I'll be doing on-call scheduling along with the major incident management demo. Thanks, Jim.
Okay, thanks, Digant. Okay, so we're through to our first poll of the day. So I'm going to launch that now. And that poll is asking about whereabouts you are in your Service Operations Workspace journey. So options there: just getting started, launch underway, not yet planned, or other. So yeah, we're gonna try and get ourselves up to around about 75% answers on that before I move forward. While we're just waiting for that, if you do have any questions, we have got a group of people from ServiceNow that are waiting for your questions. Ideally, if you can put them in the Q&A section on Zoom, that would be great. We'll then gather all of those questions, answer what we can now, and then share them with you afterwards in a Q&A as well. So we are recording this session, and we will make it available through the community at a later date as well. Okay, so we've got up to 80% on the poll. So let me share those results with you here. If my mouse was working. Okay, so we shared those results. And we can see that certainly sort of around about the 70 to 80% of you that have answered are in that kind of launch or using and getting underway. So that's great. You know, hopefully we can start giving you some information on how to improve how you're using it currently. So thanks for answering that. We're going to move on next to what you can expect from the Launch and Learn. So we're doing these as a follow-on from our original series, which was primarily focusing on the tier 1 or level 1 persona. And this now is extending it to the tier 2 and the extended personas using the system. They're going to be weekly. We're going to look to do a walkthrough or demo and then Q&A and discussions. Please, you know, one of the primary purposes behind this is to request your feedback. You know, there is nothing more that we want than to get your feedback and your questions around this to help us understand effectively where you are and what you need from us. And we will also be sharing documentation and surveys with you. So if you could complete those, that again will help us in determining how useful these sessions are and also what else you would like to see from us in the future. So why are we doing this? So we're trying to get the answer to some questions. We want to understand what we can do to help you adopt Service Operations Workspace faster. What do you need to do that around documentation? Are we actually looking at this in the right way and answering the questions and solving the problems that you have? And also, what haven't we got there? What are we missing? From your perspective, hopefully you can start to understand that you're getting direct connection with our product management teams, with other customers and understanding their questions. And we're giving out some guidance around new and existing features and also getting some demos and workthroughs on the product. Where are we now? So this is a series of 6 sessions over a 6-week period. We're on the session number 2, 22nd of August, and this is major incident management in Service Operations Workspace. So we've got another 4 sessions to go over the next 4 weeks, and hopefully you'll be able to join us for that or drop in and out as you need to get the assistance that you need. It wouldn't be a ServiceNow presentation if we didn't show you Safe Harbor. Ultimately, we are talking to you, and at times we may make statements regarding forward-looking information, features that are coming and things like that. Please understand that you should not be making any buying decisions, implementation decisions based on anything apart from what is currently available within the tool. Yeah, it's our mantra that we live to, but we obviously want to be talking to you. Okay, so that leads us through to the next poll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing because I think, Harsh, this is now moving into your area. So if I stop sharing now and I'll launch that poll around your role within the organization, and then we can get that answered. So poll number 2, there we go. Okay, so which of these roles best describe your current responsibility within the organization? Okay, so yeah, I'm looking for around about 75% again, so we're nearly there. Excellent, well done. We are there, so I'm going to end that poll now and share that with you. So we've got quite a good split, sort of mainly around major incident managers and NOC commander positions. also some process and product owners and some team leaders and admin. So a good split around who the people are. So excellent. And you want poll number 3 now, Harsh, yeah?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so a poll has been launched in this meeting. Hold on. I am having some technical difficulties here. Let me see. All right, there we go. Apologies, my fault. Okay, so next poll. Where are you on your major incident journey? I could see the PowerPoint, yes. Okay, getting some good answers to this. The vast majority are already using major incident within ServiceNow. Let me end the poll there and share those results. So we can see that out of the people that answered, nearly 70% are already using major incident management in ServiceNow. We've got a 6% using it externally, and then we're remainder brand new at 6% and 19% on evaluating. So I will hand that over to Harsh now and let him talk to you.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Jim. So just at a high level, we want to touch upon what's going on with major incident in SOW. And I also want to touch a little bit about why we've decided to go ahead with this offering. So given that a lot of you are already using major incident management in ServiceNow, I think the core problems should be pretty clear. We're talking about the need to balance, the need to manage organization-wide impacting issues, and just having that single pane of glass from where you can jump into all of your different core workflows without necessarily needing to have multiple third-party applications open. So that's really where our solution comes in. And hopefully with the service operations experience, we like to believe at ServiceNow that we've done a better job of just delivering on that vision of keeping your major incident managers as much as possible on top of the ServiceNow platform. One of the slides that we're hopefully going to get to in this presentation is also just showing you from a time savings point of view how much we believe that this new solution can help you if you do go ahead and implement it. Now, when we're talking about what you get as a part of Service Operations Workspace, we are essentially giving you a couple of different things. We're giving you the ability to have major incident tickets now as first-class citizens inside SOW, which wasn't there previously. Along with that, we're retaining some of our core integrations. So for example, the Microsoft Teams integration, the Zoom integration, being able to start chats, bridges, all of those things, that functionality has been carried over. Excuse me. We've also introduced some new aspects that we're going to highlight, primarily around our Playbook experience. Hopefully, Playbook is a term that resonates with some of you. If it doesn't, that's absolutely okay. We're going to be talking about it today. And we're going to bring it home by talking about an admin experience that we've delivered. And the idea of that admin experience is just making it easy for your admins to know what are all of the different features that ServiceNow Major Incident has available. Now, why we believe you should be investing in this solution is because of 3 major reasons. So we'd like you to start improving your major incident management structure. When we talk about the Playbook capability, that's really going to become the crux of the conversation. We'd like to help improve your efficacy when it comes to communication, just knowing who you are to send communications to, introducing critical automation so that instead of having to create communications on the fly, your major incident managers have a little bit of cognitive burden taken off them. And finally, just increasing the accuracy of how you're reporting back on your information using your post-incident report. So really, those 3 takeaways are what we believe this new solution specifically can do for you over and above what we used to deliver in the workbench. Now, I just want to start by showing you a quick snippet of what we're going to be looking at For those of you who are familiar with SOW, hopefully this reminds you a lot of the record page. So the idea is, again, why we've delivered this solution is we want to help you just accelerate your resolution as much as possible, give you that single pane of glass from where you as a major incident manager can coordinate, bring in all of the key people, send out key updates, all within a timely manner. And then again, just using that post-incident report functionality along with some of our other components like the activity stream, the compose, just to use this ticket as the source of truth for everything that's going on. Excuse me. We're also going to close out our talk by touching upon the admin setup. So the idea of the admin setup is it's going to be that single view from where you can keep seeing all of the different features that come into the major incident world. It's a representation of what we believe you need to do in order to get value from the product. And when we touch upon that segment, I'm also going to have a sneak peek for you of what the overall admin center looks like for those of you who are interested. Now, I'd like to get into the demo section of what we're going to be taking a look at today. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and quickly reshare just so that I get the right view in front of me. I'm going to ask you all to give me a second while I do that. All right, so I'm going to exit my PPT here, and I'm going to pull up my dashboard view. I'm beginning by impersonating an ITIL user over here. So we're going to start off our day looking at Adela, Adela being a normal ITIL user. So Adela starts off her day by coming inside Service Operations Workspace. And what she's going to do is she's going to pop open a list view of what's going on in Service Operations Workspace just to take a look. And she's going to take a look at all of the different open incidents. Now, let's see what's going on here. Let's say Adela decides to see, are there any P1s in the system? So Adela is going to go ahead and put a filter, and she's going to say priority is P1. Let's also add a filter for P2 and update that. Excuse me. Now, Adela takes a look over here, and what she realizes is there are a lot of incidents coming in that are related to Tableau. So what Adela thinks is, well, hey, she knows Tableau is a business critical service. So perhaps there's a need to report this as a potential major incident. So Adela is going to pop open one of these incidents just to see what's going on here. And this is taking us to the landing page for the incident. Now, all right, this is already a major incident. So let me go ahead and pick up something that isn't. So Adela is going to just go ahead and open up one of these new incidents. And Adela sees that this major incident is in a proposed state. So the idea is essentially Adela will have various options available to her. So Adela will have the option to propose a major incident candidate, which means that she is going to go ahead in the system and say that there is a need for someone to create to take a look and see if there is actually a major incident in progress. Now, let's switch really quickly to the view for our major incident manager. So our major incident manager is known as Andrea. So Andrea is really going to be the person who takes a look and sees what major incident candidates are there in the system. So if I just quickly impersonate Andrea being my major incident manager, it's Andrea's job to review all of the different major incident candidates and confirm whether or not there actually is a genuine major incident in the system. So I'm going to go ahead over here, click on my list view, come to the candidates, and I see that there are a bunch of different candidates open for Tableau not working. So let's say I decide to go inside one of these. Now, the idea of a candidate is that it's something that someone has proposed as a potential major issue. The major incident manager actually needs to come in and review and make sure that this is indeed a major incident. So how do they do that? They look at this page and they have to try to make sense of the various bits of information that are available over here. The first thing that they have to take a look at is they have to take a look at the summary section. The summary section tells them that, all right, this is a P1 incident and it's in the major incident state proposed. Along with that, they also have to take a look at the impact section. And the idea of the impact section is it's supposed to give them a sense of how widespread this major incident actually is. So we see that in this major incident, the service impacted is Tableau. So we're going to decide to go ahead and confirm that this is, in fact, a formal major incident. So I'm going to click over here. And as you can see, I actually have a button that says promote to major incident. I'm going to go ahead and say promote to major incident. And Tableau is a business critical offering. We need to declare a major. And I go ahead and hit promote to major incident. Excuse me. Now, with that, we've entered the working view of the major incident. So there are a couple of different pieces that I want to call out here as a part of this conversation. So the idea of this new design that we've introduced is essentially meant to combine two things that we had earlier. So we had earlier an independent platform experience for major incidents, which was based out of UI 16. And we had the workbench experience, which was meant to be that single pane of glass for major incident managers to work out of. Why we've come up with this new solution is we'd heard consistent feedback from our customers that the workbench was very difficult to modify, very difficult to customize. So the idea with the Service Operations Workspace solution is it gives you that extra degree of control over and above what the workbench used to offer so that you can modify the UI and move things around as per your need. Now, there are a couple of different things that we're going to be looking at in the session today. So let's break that down one by one and see what it is. So we're going to be looking at this tab over here on the top called the Communicate tab. We're going to be looking at this side panel over here called the Major Incident Playbook. We're also going to be just briefly touching upon the on-call escalations and the Collaborate side panels over here. Now, for those of you who may be less familiar with Service Operations Workspace, the idea of this UI is that you can assemble different views that best fit your business use case. So whether you're an ITIL agent or you're a major incident manager, you're going to be combining these tabs and these side panels to essentially come up with a unique working view representing which situation you're in. So let's start by talking about the playbook, because the playbook really is one of those pivotal use cases that we want to focus on. Excuse me. So I'm going to click over here, and I want to explain what the playbook is before I drill down into each of these cards over here. So the idea of a playbook is it's meant to be a representation of your business process on top of the ServiceNow platform. Now, why this is important is we've heard from a lot of our customers that currently they have major incident processes in place, but all of these processes are diagrammed out either as KB articles or PDFs or Word documents. And what that means is that your major incident manager needs to constantly switch between another resource, whether it's on platform or off platform, and this working view to try and make sense of what's happening. And I think it's fair to say we all know that major incidents are very time sensitive. There's a lot of things that need to be done. There are a lot of steps that need to be followed, a lot of SLAs that need to be met. And it can be a very heckling experience if you have to keep constantly switching between two screens to see where you are. Now, in that situation, it becomes important for you to have an assistive tool of sorts that nudges you in the right direction. So that's really where we go with the playbook experience. The playbook is meant to be that representation of your business process. And why that representation is important is because your business process can have automated steps, it can have manual steps, or it can have a combination of both. So I'm going to click inside one of these playbooks and show you what it looks like. Now, if I just expand this really quickly, as you can see, the playbook gives me a list of different steps that I need to complete in order to work through my major incident. Now, these steps at a high level look static, but what I want to do is I actually want to drill down inside this to show you an example of how we've introduced some key visual components. So I just went ahead and clicked inside the Communicate tab. And all of a sudden, what I can see is all of these different communication tasks have been laid out for me inside my side panel. Now, why is this important? This is important because think of a situation where you're providing a 24/7 support model. So it's very likely that your major incident managers are going to be thrown inside situations where a major incident has hit their desk, but it is already in progress. It's not a net new major incident, which means that they're taking over from another shift. Now, in those situations, what your major incident manager needs to be doing is they need to have their eye on two things. They need to have their eye on the existing ticket, see what's going on over there, and make sense of it. So that's what this left-hand side represents. So I'm taking a look at the summary, I'm taking a look at the impact, but I've also got my compose and activity stream monitor over here, which is my representation of seeing what the live interactions are that my team is posting in. So in this kind of view, what we'd expect you to do is you've got this core ticket view open, you're trying to digest what's happening, but you've also got that playbook open just as a friendly nudge that keeps telling you that, hey, look, these are the different things that need your attention. So in this situation, in this particular screen, the major incident manager is actually able to see that there are communications that are overdue. And if they go ahead and hit compose, it's actually going to take them into the experience from where they can compose a communication. We'll get into communication and collaboration in just a bit, but the idea of showing you this step is just to give you some sense of the kind of possibilities that are available to you. You can also do things like introducing checklist components. So for example, inside one of these steps, if you just want to bury a checklist of things that your major incident managers have to complete, that's possible. The Playbook Designer is a low-code designer that is now available as a standard platform offering. It's not a new offering, but this time what we've done is we've integrated it into the side panel view to make it operationally easier for your major incident managers to work through those major issues. Additionally, you can also introduce key automations here. So while you don't see it on this environment because it hasn't been enabled, we've shipped one automation which actually automatically creates problem tickets. So what that automation will do is it will say, once the major incident is moved to a resolved state, it will automatically go ahead and create a tracking problem, associate that with a major incident, and actually pre-populate some of the fields over from the major incident onto that problem. So that's just an example of us giving an automation. And again, you can combine all of these different steps to achieve really complex workflows. So these 4 steps that you see, for example, communicate, collaborate, resolve, and the ad hoc step, these are all steps that are running in parallel, which means that you can step through each of them without having to wait for the previous step to complete. So all kinds of rich possibilities are opened up to you with this engine. And we believe that this is going to be the cornerstone for just making your process flow that much simpler and in reducing the amount of burden that's there on your major incident managers. Now, coming to some of the other aspects that are there in the solution, I do want to touch upon the dedicated communicate tab that we have. Excuse me. So for those of you who are familiar with our Workbench capability, this will probably look familiar to you. The idea of the communicate tab is this is where you go when you want to send out communications. Now, communications for us are one-to-many broadcast kind of notifications that you're sending. You're not intending to get a response back. This is just update, FYI, letting people know, hey, either we've got a major incident up, that kind of initial declaration, or sending that recursive status update that this is the progress we've made. Now, inside the communications console, as you can see, we've got a lot of communication tasks predefined over here. Excuse me. And these are actually possible because of some automations that we ship in our product. So we have a sister product called Task Communications Management, which you're automatically entitled to when you install Major Incident. And what TCM, as it's called, allows you to do is it allows you to predefine intelligent conditions under which communications can be created. So you can create what are known as communication plan definitions, where you can say that under, let's say, a condition where I have a P1 major incident and that P1 major incident pertains to Tableau, automatically create an email communication task for me with a specified template, which I have to complete in order to notify the key executive teams. So that's the example of the communication task that you see over here. Now, some of the channels that we support for communications are email, SMS, and Microsoft Teams. And we also allow you to send multi-channel communications, which means that inside a single communication flow, if you wanted to send all 3, email, SMS, and Teams, you're going to have the ability to do that. In the future, we are actually planning to introduce, and one more channel that we support is SMS. Should have mentioned that earlier. So in the future, we're also going to be looking to enhance these channels. So some of the directions we're thinking of are, for example, sending a now mobile blast. We have in our Xanadu release, we've actually added announcement support as well, which means that if you wanted to proactively, let's say, deploy a banner to your service portal, you can do that from this communications console itself. Now, just to make it a little visually clear for all of you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit compose. And this is going to open up our executive communication. Excuse me. So as you can see, this is what our communications console looks like. We tried to take some of the core themes from the Workbench experience and enhance them a little bit for those of you who are familiar. One of the consistent bits of feedback that we heard around that Workbench experience was that the communications window was very small and difficult to use. So we've tried to give a better presentation to it to make it that much easier to send out communications. And as you can see, all of these fields are predefined. So I've got a recipient list over here that is meant to go out to my IT executives. My template is predefined. My subject line is predefined. And this template is dynamically pulling fields from my incident ticket. I do want to clarify that while this template looks fairly rudimentary in this demo, you have the ability to actually put in rich text templates over here. So if you want to put in your company branding, you want to change the look and feel, change the styling, you can define templates exactly as you would a platform template and put it in over here. And when you go ahead and hit send, it will actually go out and send that email to all of the people who are specified over here. Now, while all of this is pre-populated, I do want to clarify, just for the sake of accuracy, that you do have the ability to add additional people as well. But one of the limitations of the system is that these users will have to have corresponding records in ServiceNow. Excuse me. So for example, if you wanted to add a personal email or something of that sort, that wouldn't be currently supported, but you could, let's say, add Abel, for example, who's one of the users inside ServiceNow. And you can also go ahead and add groups and other recipient lists from here. So that's about communication. And again, this is meant to be that one-way broadcast kind of scenario, letting your executives know that you have a major incident, or letting your stakeholders know that you have a major incident. This is the investigation progress, things of that sort. Let's now talk a little bit about collaboration. So the idea with collaboration is that it's meant to be that other core aspect of major incident, which is bringing your team together to work on the issue. So inside collaboration, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the collaborate side panel first, and then we can also drill down into the playbook. So if I take a look at the collaborate side panel over here, excuse me. So as you can see, the side panel has actually been broken down into two pieces. One piece is around chats and one piece is around calls. So over here, what's happened is, again, because I've used the TCM framework, I actually have a predefined chat created for me. So what the TCM framework is intelligent enough to do is it's intelligent enough to know that this is the service owner supporting group responsible for Tableau, and I need to start a chat with these people. So it will actually create a predefined card for me, which when I hit start, will go ahead and start a chat. And this chat right now is a Microsoft Teams chat. I'll just show you briefly what that experience looks like. I'm going to go ahead and add Andrea also. And if I go ahead and hit start chat, what it's actually going to do is it's going to go ahead and try to open the Microsoft Teams client. I'm not going to allow it to do that just because of the demo. But as you can see now over here, I've got an active chat going on. There's a similar experience available for calls. Excuse me. So we don't have a predefined call over here, but if you go ahead and hit on the plus icon, what it will actually allow you to do is it'll allow you to start a Microsoft Teams meeting from here. I do want to call out some of the different channels that we support. So we have sidebar discussions available here. We have Microsoft Teams chats available. We also allow you to start a Microsoft Teams meeting or a Twilio-based voice call. Additionally, for call, we have the option of starting a Zoom call, and we also support Cisco WebEx-based calls. So these are going to be some of those different channels that you have available to you based on your organizational needs. One thing to call out, just as an important disclaimer, this environment that you're looking at is pre-configured with Microsoft Teams and Twilio. In your individual cases, you would need to go down the road of doing that respective product in order to be able to leverage these capabilities. Now, just to take a look at how this ties back to the playbook. So inside the playbook, if you have any predefined chats or calls, you're going to be able to see them from here. So anything that's intelligently created via our TCM product, that shows up over here. Now, the next bit that I would just want to touch upon is the on-call piece, just linking that to major incident. So if we quickly take a look at the on-call escalations, any on-call escalations that have been issued are going to be available to you via the side panel. We're going to be touching on on-call a little more in detail when I hand it over to Digant. But just wanted to point out to you that the on-call escalations bit is available to you from the side panel. There are also additional side panel capabilities that you can explore. So for example, our recommended actions framework is very much alive over here. For those of you who are not aware, recommended actions is a framework that has two kinds of capabilities to it. So you can write what are known as rule-based recommendations, or you can use what are known as machine learning-based recommendations. In either case, the idea is these are meant to be helpful cards and snippets that assist you in your journey. And these are not limited to major incident. They work throughout SOW. So even if you're, let's say, working on a normal incident, you will have this side panel available to you. And it just, again, attempts to prompt you in the right direction. So for this major incident, for example, what we've done is we've given this recommendation asking our users to see if they'd like to link a problem. Because we've heard from some customers that they want that ability, that nudge from the beginning of the major incident itself. So we've surfaced that over here. Now, bringing it home, I want to touch upon our post-incident reporting functionality. So I'm going to go ahead and hit resolve really quickly. And I'm going to go ahead and hit, this was, let's say, resolved by a solution provided. And I'm going to go ahead and hit resolve. Excuse me. And just as you'd expect inside our workbench, you now have a post-incident report tab available to you. Now, inside this post-incident report tab, we show you a couple of different things. We have this SLA that tells you by when this post-incident report needs to be published. We're surfacing certain key metrics like the incident response timings. We've also created a contributor model. So the idea is anyone who you'd expect to be able to work on this post-incident report needs to be added as a contributor. But really the feature that we're probably the most excited about is the major incident timeline. So the idea with this major incident timeline is it pre-populates from some of the key incident field information and state information. So for example, when the major incident was proposed, let's say, at that time, you'll get a timeline event saying that, hey, this is when the major incident was proposed. Additionally, when the major incident state is changed and it's actually formally confirmed as a major incident, you see that too. Over and above that, you have the ability to go ahead and actually add events by hand as well. So for example, let's say you wanted to add an event. Let's say this is when we started working on the timeline. Go ahead and hit add. So you can see that that timeline event has been added. Now, the idea with the timeline event, excuse me, is we've also given you some additional controls. So for example, let's say you wanted to edit an event, you have the ability to do that. You can also control the timestamp, just to be clear. Like if I want to change this to a previous date or previous time, I have that level of control available. And I can also choose to hide this event. Now, what that means is if I go ahead and press this button, when I actually export the post-incident report to a PDF, this particular event isn't going to be shown. And just in the interest of completeness, I do want to just talk about a little bit of the future vision that we have. So in the future, what we want to do is we want to enhance this timeline further. So one of the capabilities that we're looking into is, can we support flagging? So the idea of flagging is, if you see, whenever I hover over any item in the activity stream, I get this little flag over here. So one of the capabilities that we're researching, which is on our roadmap right now for 2025, is if I go ahead and hit this flag, can I get the event to automatically get added to my timeline so that it becomes that much easier for your major incident managers just to keep a track of everything that was going on. So the idea is that with the combination of the flagging plus show and hide, your timeline becomes complete as a source of truth for everything that's going on inside your major incident. Now, the final part that I want to talk about from the point of view of the major incident demo is around our admin experience functionality. So I'm going to go ahead and end my impersonation just so that I enter my user as admin. Excuse me. And I'm going to navigate now to our Service Operations Workspace Admin Center. So if I go ahead and type Service Operations and I go on this overview over here. Now, this essentially takes me to the landing page for the Service Operations Workspace admin experience. The idea of this is that all of our different ITSM products over time are going to start sitting inside here. And the thought process is that you would come inside here and it would give you visibility into two things. One, it would give you visibility into the products that you already have. And the second thing is it would start giving you a sneak peek into products that you are yet to install. So this becomes that first place for you to discover what it is that you have and what it is that you can get for additional business value. Now, in this view, because this environment has a lot of products preset, what you can see is that you have the ability to configure some of our core ITSM products. So if I go ahead and show the experience for major incident management specifically, I'm going to click configure and see where that takes me. Now, it's taken me to this small page that shows me a list of different capabilities that are available to me for major incident management. So right from setting up major incident managers in the system, all the way up to actually configuring the timeline settings, defining playbooks, all of these different features are linked out over here. Now, the idea, again, of this is it shows you as a system admin what you already invested in and where the additional potential for you to leverage the product lies. So, for example, you can see that some of these ties, they just tell you, like, all right, you've got 5 users to whom the major incident manager role has already been assigned, versus you don't have a template configured. So you have the ability to click over here to configure either an email template or an SMS template. So we've consistently heard from customers that documentation for our products is quite scattered and difficult to navigate. The idea of this becomes that release over release, it becomes a little more structured way of you finding out what ServiceNow is working on and keeping an eye out on what are the new and exciting things that can help you get business value. And again, our vision is to keep investing in these. We're going to be bringing in more products here as well, not just the 3 products that you saw on your screen. So definitely that section to keep an eye out for. Now with that, I am just gonna go, I'm gonna stop sharing and go back to my deck really quickly. So if you can give me a second. Let me share my screen again, 1 minute. All right, so now we've spoken about the functionality and like you've met Digant already, our additional product manager teammate on the call. I'm going to hand it over to him to run you through a quick value prop. This is a slide that he's built up, and he's going to spend some time talking about how much time saving you can actually leverage by investing in our SOW solution. So with that, Digant, over to you.
Thank you, Harsh. As Harsh mentioned, and I mentioned earlier, I was a customer of ServiceNow for about 8 years, where I worked operations roles in DevOps and SRE. I had to deal with major incidents throughout my whole 8 years there. So when I joined the company as a product manager and I started to do customer demos, I felt like this would be useful from my perspective. And no, this is not a ServiceNow certified data set here, but from my perspective, I thought it would resonate with customers. You yourselves in your organizations may have a lot of these tasks and you know the pain of them and how monotonous it can be. So on the left-hand side in the column, I lifted out those different tasks that are involved in dealing with a major incident, the approximate time there. And I think we try to be generous and not kind of overshoot the time saves there. And in the third column, the solutions that we offer in SOW to negate those manual time spent on different tasks and major incidents. So of course, you can focus more on the actual technical triage of the issue. And in the last column is the approximate time save. And as you can see, there's a net approximate time save about 30 minutes. So some of the tasks, as most of you probably know, populating that record, we have Now Assist doing that for the most part. Researching what may be causing that incident. You might be looking at different ongoing changes, outages. You might be looking at knowledge articles. These are all separate tabs, whereas Harsh showed you now, they're all on the right-hand side panel. You almost always want to start a group chat as well as an incident bridge. Again, that's manual, making phone calls, paging out to people if you're an FTSS organization to get them on the call, the different stakeholders, the technical folks, the business folks. That all takes quite a bit of time, right? So before you can actually get to resolving the issue, you got to get everybody on the call. You can automate all of those different efforts with those rules that Harsh showed you from the admin center. Identifying the on-call person. I'm going to go into that in the next section as well in terms of how some organizations are doing that today in a very manual-driven way. And I don't think Harsh showed this in the demo, but CI resource utilization is a big one as well. A lot of times in organizations, you need someone with production access to get on a server to pull down some resource utilizations or understand what process might be going haywire. We have a tab from Dex built right into the major incident workbench where you can pull that utilization right into the single pane of glass view. And then the post-incident report. Personally speaking, and I've talked to customers who say, This report takes upwards of 2 hours to generate for their manager to present to the other managers in the organization to look at end of day checkpoint to understand where that major incident stands. And again, as Harsh mentioned, it's automated, and we're going to continue to add into it and enhance it with AI to make it easier for the customer to generate that report and have to do almost barely any sort of work to get all the important events into that timeline. So again, approximate time save of 30 minutes. I'm sure if any of you on the call could say maybe it's twice or 4 times as much time save. I just wanted to give you an idea about what the value proposition is to use major incident management in SOW. And I think after that, Harsh, I think we want to give a little bit of time in case there's any questions or feedback on major incident management before I go into on-call scheduling. Let's see if there's anything in the chat you want to answer out loud or yeah, Cyrus, go ahead. I think you came off mute. Oh, we're losing audio there, Cyrus. But yeah, feel free to ask a question. All right.
Actually, first one's a quick simple one. The email communications out.
Cyrus, we can't hear at all, I'm afraid. You're breaking up.
Yeah, there's
If
a
you wanna
couple
type your
things in the
question,
chat.
yeah.
Maybe you can take a look at that instead.
Are the email comms capturing the timeline? I think that's the question he asked. Harsh, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so like I responded in chat, as of right now, no, but that is one of the enhancements we're looking at on our roadmap.
Okay. Harsh, there's another question. The modification of the PIR. Are we moving to make that more easily modified?
So as of right now, the PIR in the format that it is I would say it would involve a medium level of complexity to customize it. But yes, so one of our thought processes is long term, we want to give a kind of PIR designer capability to make it easier for our customers to build out PIRs of their own. We are working with our internal teams to figure out how and when we can make that happen.
Okay, brilliant. Jacob's got a hand raised as well.
Hi, good morning. I'm just trying to understand the navigation. I posted a question in the chat, and the response was, if I have the next experience on the admin configuration hub, SOW Admin Center, I can't even navigate to this, so I don't know how to access.
So when Jacob, you say, yeah, exactly. What version are you on?
How can I find this out? I was trying to find that as well.
So what you can do is you can go, if you have admin rights, are you able to see my instance? I hope you are.
I don't have admin rights.
Yeah, so you're gonna need to ask your admin, and what they can do is they can type stats.do and they can see over here. Or else if you're connected with a member from your ServiceNow account team, either your solution consultant or someone of the like, they can actually go inside your internal ServiceNow records and tell you what version you're on.
I put that in, and where would it? It looks like I'm in Vancouver.
Yeah. So let me. We're gonna go ahead and put this in chat also. But just for the record, in order to leverage some of these capabilities, you have to be in Washington Patch 2 or higher, and additionally, you need to install the Service Operations Workspace 5.0 store application. We can go ahead and put in links for that in the chat as well, just so that you have them available.
Okay, and I'm with Ascension, so I'm not sure. Obviously, this seems like it's a global thing, so I don't know. Obviously, it's run by the administration, so I have to follow suit with whatever they're employing now. So, thank you for the feedback. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Digant,
so
we've got about 8 minutes left, haven't we?
I do want to address one point before we hand it over to Digant. So Cyrus, to your point about subscription management being set up, we do have a basic subscription management widget in place, but one of our top items that we're looking at for 2025 is building a full-fledged subscription management and notification system in place. So if that is something you're interested in, you and I definitely let's connect offline. Happy to hear out your thoughts
thanks,
on
Mark.
how we can make that happen.
Perfect.
And I do remember we connected last year, so let's get that
Yeah.
chain back up, and I'd be happy to talk to you.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks, Harsh. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, no worries. Digant, I'll hand it over to you. Let's flip through the deck.
Yep. Thank you. So hello again, everybody. So again, we're going to go into on-call scheduling, and a similar thing I mentioned with the value prop for MIM and SOW. I did a similar thing for on-call scheduling. So this is from my personal experience, as well as talking to a couple different customers. So these are the different context switches or disparate tools that organizations may be using today to manage their on-call rosters, rotations, and policies, right? A lot of organizations today still have all the data in a spreadsheet, which is obviously a lot of overhead and back and forth and not really efficient in the heat of the battle to go look into the spreadsheet for the information. Additional costs for third-party tools such as PagerDuty. It's about $41 a month per user for using PagerDuty for managing on-call, where a lot of the functionality features that we have already with standard packaging in ServiceNow, so you don't have to pay any additional cost to use it. And the other challenges, right? So managing absences, again, I'll show you in the demo. And let me actually kind of get into that because I know I'm right down to 5 minutes left here. So Harsh, I think this is an overview slide. Again, I'm going to go into the demo and show you guys pretty much the same thing real quick in this demo. Just want you guys to get a feel for it. So let me share my screen. Second here. All right, so you guys can all see that, yeah? Screen. Let me just pull up the, so I have two windows here. One is going to be an on-call shift manager. So I have Adelaide Vance here, who is the on-call shift manager for IT network engineering. The first thing I want to show you here is how fully flexible the on-call scheduling can be and how flexible it can be. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing a global FTSS coverage laid out. So each different region is on here in one single pane for all the different roster shifts for the network team. But next, I'm going to walk you through setting this up. So there's two different views in which you can manage on-call scheduling shifts. One is from the scheduling view here. So it's this icon right here where you have a little bit more real estate. And the other is if you go into this team section here. So I'm going to this team section here, you can see all the different teams that the user logged in as a part of. So I'm going to go into IT network engineering. Again, you get a little bit more details here in the first tab. The next tab is where you can create a shift. So I'll go in there and do that. So I'll just say demo one shift. And I'm going to set that shift from the beginning of this month to the end of this month. For the sake of this demo, I'm not going to have it repeat. I'll create this shift. And the next thing I'm going to do is show you how simple it is to add members to the shift and stagger their rotation in an automatic fashion. So all I'm going to do, come in here, I'm going to select a couple different users and pop them in here. And you'll see they automatically pop in. Actually, I missed one step there, is setting that rotation to start at the same time that the shift starts and ends. So when I do that, you'll see from the 1st to the 31st, the shift starts and rotates on that day in which the shift started. So every Thursday, you see someone new rotating over there. The next thing I want to show you is, just delete this real quick, is adding a secondary person, because typically in organizations for on-call, you'll have a secondary manager just in case the primary doesn't respond or isn't able to resolve the issue. So add a new responder level, and you see secondary comes up here. Again, I'll add a member here. I'll add Caleb, same thing, starting from the beginning of the month, going to the end of the month. And you'll see Caleb will come in here below all the primary folks. So it was that simple to create a new shift with a primary and secondary person on call. I'll show you also how simple it is if you need to swap weeks for some reason. For some reason, Calvin had something come up and he can't do that week. You just drag and drop, and you'll see it reflects on the calendar pretty much in real time. You'll see Calvin is now swapped with Alex, and that's pretty easy to maintain. Moving along, the other things I want to show you is managing escalation triggers and policies, right? So the idea is that, of course, for major incidents, as I mentioned, you don't want to be manually trying to find out who's on call, contacting them if you can do it automatically. So that's where the triggers and policies come into play. So again, for the sake of this demo and time, I've already set one up here. I have a demo trigger. The condition is whenever an incident is priority 1, automatically contact that person on call right from the SOW interface. You can set additional advanced options if you have other workflows or scripts you want to kick in as well when that trigger is met. Maybe you want to automatically run some diagnostics from a script, pull that data in. That's an example right there. Save these changes. And then you notice policy is not shown here. So one thing I missed here, which is important, is to publish that shift when you're done creating it, right? So it was in draft mode. I hit publish. And when I come back over here and I refresh this, you'll see I can set policy. What policy effectively does is it lets you set the cadence and the points of contact in which you're going to reach out to them, and also the notification preference channels. So, I'll create a policy, or actually I'll just show you one I created already just for sake of time. So I have one here. that is going to rotate through the members on the roster for the primary level for the on-call escalation. You can see here, you can set granular details, right? So if they don't respond after the first attempt, do you want them to try again? So in this case, it's going to give 15 minutes after the first attempt, and it's going to try again to contact the same person. And if they don't respond, it's going to then go to the manager, the secondary person, which you can set in here. So you can see the secondary persons in here. You can also specifically manage and set escalation hierarchy here and contact the manager's manager if you need to, and so on. So that's pretty much it. Again, kind of coming down to the wire of time. So I'll just kind of quickly run through some other useful information here. Very easy to add new team members to the on-call shift group. All your related records that may pertain to the reason why someone's being paged out for on-call. All the information is right here in your left-hand side panel: alerts, incidents, change tasks, problems, records. And then lastly, really quickly, I just wanted to show you guys managing absences. So I had a separate window here where I have Alex Wilbur, who is one of the people that's on call shift. And we're going to go ahead and create a new absence request for him and show you how that comes through for the manager. And you can approve it, deny it. And there's a very useful thing here, which is the ability to suggest somebody to replace your shift, right? This takes the onus out of the manager having to scramble around last minute to find someone to plug them into the shift. So very simple, just request a shift in here. And when that happens, you can see on the calendar, the absence goes gray, shows pending. It's over here for Alex to keep a track of it. And on the manager side over here in their inbox on-call scheduling, you'll see that request come through. There it is on the right-hand side. And again, on the calendar, it's gray until you hit approve. And then it'll automatically, you'll see swap Alex with the person you suggested, Ravi. So again, it's that simple to create shifts, manage rosters or rotations, escalation triggers, policies, and absences and on-call. And with that, I will wind it down with a minute, just in case any questions remaining. I'll open up to the floor or in the chat.
There is one question in the chat that is just asking, is there a way for users to specify multiple numbers, like an office and a mobile number with timing preferences?
Yes, great question. I do want to just briefly touch on that. So you go to on-call notification preferences, and within here, you can manage the different delivery channels, as many phone numbers and emails as you want. You probably have a work one, maybe a personal one. You can also set your preferences based on the days of the week and the times of the days. Maybe Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you want to be reached out to MS Teams originally, right? But then after 5 p.m. in your evening time, you would want to set maybe an email or phone call. So you definitely have all that customization at the user level. You can also override that at the admin level. If for some reason your users are not tending to that first layer of escalation, like the email, and they're not receiving it or not responding, you can set like phone calls as a first primary way to contact users. Good question.
Okay.
Awesome.
We're at time, and that generated a lot of good questions and feedback. So maybe we'll look to do something either within the office hours or in a future session, just to give that a little bit more time. Because, as I say, it's generated a lot of questions, a lot of love for that as well. So well done, Gant. You've made some people fall in love with it as well. So we've just got one final poll to go through. So I'm just going to launch that quick. We have lost a few people, but it's just questioning what roles are you going to implement. We've got a variety of different options there. Your tier 1 users, and then extending down into different personas within your tier 2 access. Yeah, we've got some change and a major incident. Hopefully everybody's feeling much more confident around a major incident now as well. So yeah, I think we'll just see how many answers we can get to that. But yeah, very, very good feedback on that one. So good job to Gant.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining and all the questions. Great to hear feedback.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll get these recordings posted as quickly as I can. It usually takes at least 48 hours, so bear with me, but thank you very much. You should see last week's posting by tomorrow, hopefully.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your time today.
Bye. Excellent. And no open question. Perfect. That was great, guys. Thank you very, very much. Harsh, it was nice to see big uptake on the major incident percentage this time, because
Right.
yeah, yeah, people are starting to see the love and the on-call stuff.